So this is gonna be a fun one. I just made a video making some progress. This time, instead of focusing on making as much money as possible, we're focusing on cutting costs as much as possible and trying to establish a bit of security first through like a part-time job, and then just enough to pay the bills, and then the other part of that is cutting it as low as possible. So I'm currently staying in a storage unit. It's pretty fucking awesome. It's gonna make a great story. It's heated. It's just a... So the plan is to not get kicked out of our storage unit. We've got that. We've got the gym, which is essential, of course. And then I'm getting a co-working space on the 21st floor of the first building, whatever it is on Jasper. It's gonna be fucking sweet. So I'm gonna go there during the day. I'm gonna work. And the idea with eliminating costs is not to just make it easier. It's a little bit deeper. It's that if instead of working 8 hours a day at a $30 per hour job, I'm able to work 2 or 3 or 4 hours a day at a minimum wage job that I moderately like that's inside, then I will enjoy my life enough to keep consistency with that job and then spend all the other hours cranking on content, building out programs. And I think for the sake of this, I'm gonna be sticking with like the energy coaching type of thing, because I feel, yeah, just wrapping that up, self-state is so important. Like, you can tell the level I was at when I was living with my parents out in Westlock, past the graveyard, to just now. Like, how many people do you know can walk through a semi-crowded gym, it's mostly empty, and make a video like this? And the point is not to brag, but it's to demonstrate, once you get in the confidence, the energy, acquire these traits that are gonna allow you to be an influential leader. At the end of the day, you can get just about anything you want. So I kind of got to end it here. My phone is out of storage. That's a problem I got to fix probably pretty soon. But this is what I like to call concentrated excellence. I could be paying $500 a month for some ratty ass fucking crack house room on the south side of Edmonton, or even $1,000, or you know what I was paying at home, $525. And I'm getting this gym on the 4th floor of the JW Marriott, and a storage unit that is actually kind of nice because I like the brutal aesthetic. It's just simple, it's plain, it's like a box that I'm gonna get like a beanbag to sleep on. Tonight's gonna be cold, it's gonna be on the concrete, I think, but that's part of the game. And then we have that tower to work 24 hours around the clock if I wanted to, once I get signed up for that membership. And that's all together is gonna be about $800 a month. So I just gotta make that back, and then I can live. I can fucking do whatever I want in the city, build a personal brand, do the shit I need to do that was very hard. Here's the thing. I could do it at home. I could shift my energy. I could influence my family and have them, you know, shift the narrative like I did for a couple weeks there. But there's so much environmental resistance. It's like breathing in a room of carbon dioxide. So yeah, love all you guys for following and supporting me on my journey. And that's the plan. There's only really 2 ways I can fuck this up. Is get caught sleeping in a storage unit, which is kind of against the zoning. It's kind of not against the terms. The second way is not being able to afford the $800 in expenses or whatever it comes out to be. It's gonna be pretty cheap, like 8 to 1K. But that's just on me to find a position, find a job, or, you know, if I figure I can go past that, sell t-shirts or do whatever the fuck I need to do in the meantime to make that cash. And then once those bases are covered, stress-free to the moon. Thinking about calling the program either The Light or just Self-State. I think The Light is like the light at the end of the tunnel. I think it's really cool because if I can, you know, get other people to do this and be able to make it happen for themselves and shift their state internally to the point where they've flipped their life 180 without being rich, that is a huge impact that would make me feel really good. So that's all. See you guys tomorrow. Now that I'm thinking, I think I'm gonna turn these videos into a YouTube series. I'm too lazy to film sideways, so I'm gonna do it like this, blur the background, whatever. Because these are so easy for me to record. So the plan today is really just to absorb what I'm embodying right now. You know, the gym, this, that. I gotta come up with a plan, like even just the workout stuff, because it's been so long since I've worked out that I forgot about my stretches. I forgot what my split was throughout the week. And I think tomorrow is gonna be a day for planning. Going to get up to the office there and plan. Right now it's absorb, tomorrow it's plan, the next day is execute. So goal for tonight, get a pretty good workout in, maybe get something to eat. I'm a little bit late for the city market, so I can't really get, I usually get like the hard-boiled eggs. It's so fucking easy, and they're like 50 cents a piece, which is unheard of for food these days. And 6 grams of protein each. So just get like 6 of those and pop them, and they're actually pretty good. Eat, work out, solve storage issues. I think a really misunderstood part is like when you enter a new cycle of energy and it's all good, like this, and it's high, you're eventually gonna get hit with a low, either because something happens or because you're drained. High energy is not always good. The aim is neutrality. Right now I'm actually trying to turn it down a notch. Not even like get into a sleep state, but just chill. Think. Because, okay, this is meditation. Giving the mind empty space to create raw thought and channel from the subconscious. Not even gonna lie, I'm having a ton of fun with this. It's just, the secret here, go on Instagram, get used to doing Instagram stories. You can just hold to record, open up Instagram. I actually changed the quick action from my lock screen to Instagram instead of camera because I love taking all my videos here. It's better exposure, it's easier, less settings to fuck around with. It might not be as good as quality as using the camera app, but I'm not making a cinematic thing. This is this. Yeah. And it's actually kind of fun to talk to yourself. It gives you a sense of leading and talking to somebody else because you're leading yourself through thought while under pressure of the perception of yourself on the video and how you judge yourself. Yeah. Meditation, bro. Here's the thing. This is the way I like to think of it. You have somebody that works really hard, like my dad or somebody in the oil rigs or whatever. They've worked themselves so hard that they've lost their sense of self-image and style, and they wear stained t-shirts. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching this, but it's an awareness that you lose by not giving yourself the space to think about yourself. If I go sit on a park bench for an hour, that hour could be more productive than 3 weeks of working. Loop back because I do really respect people, like I use my dad in like that example, or anybody that works really hard and they just don't give a fuck about anything else. That don't give a fuck attitude after a while rips the soul aspect of you as a human from you, or steers it way off course. So you end up doing something you don't like. You get the point. I think one of the craziest, I don't know if you would call it a paradox, but you almost think better and you make better decisions and choices when you don't think. If I flipped around this chair and just stared out this window for 1 hour, I would be 130% clearer on what I need to do, why I'm doing it, who I am, and everything about that. A very practical example is this video. I'm not speaking about something premeditated. If I was so focused on what I'm going to do tomorrow and what the next workout is going to be, what my next action is explicitly, and I was hardcore in focus mode, because you can shift to different brain states, right? You can focus, you can defocus, which is blur, I guess. This is coming from the subconscious. This is raw, as it gets, as authentic as it gets. And you can't do that until you master the state, master the art of meditation. I was looking for something a little bit deeper, but dude, I may not be showing it right now or even feeling it, because like I said, I've put myself into a state of neutrality. And this is another tip. When you're around low energy people and people that want to steal the energy from you, there's a technique. You're not always trying to overcome somebody, right? So let's say they're really low vibe and you're trying to like be that leader, be that example. There's certain situations where you just gotta say fuck it and not participate. You're just silent, you're saving your energy, because it's not worth giving to them or that situation. I was just saving that video and I'm thinking, how crazy is it that some people, and this is going back to the awareness, but it's a different type of awareness. You have your awareness of societal constructs and the whole thing with functional buyers versus, or buyers or anything, aesthetic driven people, culture driven people. Like there's different things. You've got the emotion of a group, the emotion of something visual, which I'm very tied to, and the younger generation is, because we've been programmed into that. And then you have the older generation who are mostly functional buyers. They'll go to Costco and they'll buy a pair of socks and underwear and think that's all they need. Like, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, we have been programmed to think that's not okay. But these programmings, you can let them defeat you, or you can use them in a way that, like, why do they exist? So I kind of forgot where I ended off on that one, but it always makes me laugh how some people are unaware of the intangible. They're unaware of the techniques and the mechanisms that you can use to manipulate your personality, your mood, your demeanor, your energy, and position yourself as a leader so that you can influence, attract, and perform at your best. Like some people, I guess it's just like to get all Andrew Tate on you here. I shouldn't even say that, actually, put in a YouTube video. They're probably going to demonetize me. Like Andrew Tate says, some people are just blind to the matrix. 99%, and it's the same thing for all these different skills. Think of how many people don't go to the gym, and I think it's a very large percentage, like 75 to 90%, and how they are missing out on the mental benefits, the networking, the exposure and introduction to different things like money, like energy, like leadership. It just blows my mind. And that's something I want to study later, is like, how can people be so unaware? But I think it goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Giving yourself space to think about yourself. Meditation. You know, they're sitting down on the couch to watch somebody else live their life, not to reflect. They're going out on a bench. Anyways, end of my rant. I don't know where that started and where it was supposed to end. But the plan, I gotta fix my storage issues, so I'm pushing most of that to Dropbox. Currently at the limit of the Wi-Fi here. I'm probably gonna post these as a YouTube video. I think that's a solid plan. And then try to get back to the storage unit without getting caught and make that work. You know, if you're unaware, like self-storage is essentially a warehouse with like rows of, think like jail cells, but it's actually like rolling doors where you can store shit. And I just have a access code that works from 6 to 11. So I gotta be there by like 10:30, and then it unlocks at 6 in the morning. All because I said no. How many people can't say no to their life and do something that could hurt them? What was the post? And it was so emotional. I was just in such a bad state of mind where I said, when what's supposed to be safe becomes a threat, endanger yourself, or when something is endangered. Anyways, you know, and there's a component to that like I never would have done it, not just because I needed to get out, but if I didn't have the faith in myself. You know, like I talked about in the video earlier, failing 3-4 times and then throwing myself into the fire once again. That was overly cinematic. It was okay, so I got some new kicks. These ones look a little bit better from the side than the top. They look like fucking dad shoes. But I also got runners, and they're trail runners, so they're a little bit more rugged on the bottom and stiff, which is weird for me at first because I'm used to like running in Yeezys. But I think it'll be really good for if the trails once they're packed in. I kind of want to do like a sunset run tomorrow if it's not fucking freezing. I might do it anyways. The park by the golf course, what's it called? Kinnard or something? Kinnard Ridge. I'm probably saying it wrong. That's one of my favorite places. I used to run from Forest Heights and do a lap all the way down across the bridge and go north and then go up the ridge. Too many stories. I'm gonna try and keep it half-ass productive. This is the first one, so I'm gonna be a little bit more lenient. Something that I've learned for stress management, and of course this ties into state and energy, is try and think of the minimum. I'm thinking of like some term from software development, but it's like the minimum reproducible events. So for example, if I'm trying to test Shopify ads and like a new design, I would do the ad like somewhat shitty, just get it up, get one ad set, one creative, do the landing page just good enough that it might make sales. And this helps you avoid a lot of procrastination because you're making those actionable steps. So like right now, by telling myself I only need to relax, get food, get back, because of that, because I've focused on like 2-3 things to do for the entire night, at least from a macro perspective, I can live so much more carefree. Imagine if I had 15-20 things stacked on my head, if I was trying to like find a part-time job at the same time, or do X, Y, and Z, or do my workout routine right now. You know, I would be probably in a state of overwhelm where I couldn't make these videos in the quality that I am, in the persona and the energy that I am. So you need to learn to, what's the word? There's a word with a D, but you gotta like let go, disperse, disparage, something like that. The thoughts, because your mind, you can only handle so much at once, and that's just a fact. And if you are able to organize yourself in a way that you only have a few things and you're mostly empty, then you can operate at such a higher capacity. Because I just can't keep putting you guys onto sauce. I'm on the sauce, not in the way that you think. I picked up some more Rule 1 pre-lift in snow cone. I feel like the flavors also affect how it affects you. And snow cone tastes good, but it also just hits the spot. Maybe it's the combination of food dyes, that's the one downside. But all the other good shit in there just gets you straight dialed. I'm assuming this is something like what weed would be like if you just take a shit ton of nootropic mushrooms and you can flow better from the subconscious. Tip number 2 that I kind of had on the top of my mind was do things a little bit more tired. I didn't sleep last night. Like, you don't understand. There's some, and I dove into this in the past, but there's like a spectrum of consciousness where the more tired you are, the more connected you are to your soul. You're more connected, and just because you're tired. Like, I feel right now, partially because I've got myself into like a kind of like a prime state at that overtired state. But like, the opposite is true if you oversleep. You know, it's hard to sometimes, I've dealt with, if I oversleep a lot, I deal with depersonalization, disassociation, where I'm like trying to find the words from my subconscious and channel that. So that's very interesting. There's like a spectrum where your amount of sleep, your amount of tiredness, your body's, soul's, spirit's battery is related to how well you can channel thoughts from your subconscious into this world. And right now I would say is where I'm a little bit overtired, but it's prime. And you can do that by having really long days and only sleeping like 6-7 hours a day, which okay, as much as I like talking, I have to move some of my camera roll to my Mac and then try and upload that. And yeah, hopefully this will become a YouTube video. I'm gonna film an outro because I don't know if this is the end yet, and I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna have some time to myself and maybe come back to you guys. Maybe just end it here. Maybe I'm feeling like a dick and I'm just not gonna do it anymore. I give up. No, I'll probably make something after. But yeah, that was a really awkward ending, but we ball. Another thing, I in the past, like everybody else, have really come to God and like, you know, whether it's reading the Bible or whatever, in the tough times. Like, okay, I've lost my purpose. I don't know which direction to go. I don't know what business I should do. I just feel defeated. I forgot about my ability to overcome my energy and my environment. So I'm like, this has actually happened multiple times at home where I'm literally laying in bed or on my floor. Just depleted and like in a pure state of depression. I can confidently say that there was 2 to 4 periods where I was just in a state of depression for 2 to 3 weeks, or 1 to 2 weeks, just because I felt like what I was doing wasn't working, just losing hope, don't know what the next step is. Because remember, depression is a lack of purpose, and that purpose comes from the hope of the next. My point was with that, especially watching, okay, Alex Eubank, thank you for putting me on to, he's like kind of a guiding light for me when it comes to following Christ and really leaning into God and religion. Because, you know, I'm sure a lot of people see it this way, but it's just kind of a weird old man's chore to go to church and read the Bible. But when you have an influencer like Alex, which is so great, that makes it interesting and enjoyable, and that instills that drive and vision in you to pursue it in a similar way. Like, now I want to be reading the Bible and like talking about it on stories, and I owe it to God. As much as I feel like part of this right now is coming out of a sense of like, I'll continue. Although I do kind of selfishly feel that because I want to try and every day, especially on this journey, try and read the Bible for 30 minutes and dedicate some time to talking about God, talking to God. And I feel like part of it is a little bit selfish because I want to protect myself and I want God's protection in this time. But at the same time, I knew it all along. I just realized how lazy I was in the past. And just like I'm taking actions towards other things right now, I'm taking action toward the Word and following that and doing what I should be doing. So you can expect that from me. If I start falling off and I don't keep my promise of doing that, because the only person that's going to make this all work is God. I can row the boat, I forget what the saying is, but he's steering. So